All right, so we're gonna review a little bit of this topic. I don't know how much you know about this, so I'm just gonna start from the start, from the beginning. So this one right here, this you have basically three equations. The first one, this, oh, I'm not so sure if it's kind of right. So this first one right here is divided into, it has two parts. So the left side, this one this is what you call improper fraction. Okay, it's called improper fraction because the numerator, this one right here, the numerator is greater than the denominator. So it's the number on top is bigger. So the numerator is larger than the denominator. Now, this one on the other side is what you call a mixed number. Okay, it's called a mixed number, and it's called mixed because it has a whole number and it also have a fraction. So now this, in this particular equation, you have an improper converted into a mixed number. And how do we do that? So basically you just have 22, the idea there is the 22, the numerator, you divide it by the denominator, which is 5. So now you ask yourself, how many 5s are in 20? Well, there are 4. So now you do 4 times 5, you have 20. Then you will subtract that, and then the remainder is 2. So now this 2, that means you don't have enough to make a 5. So this 2 becomes like part of a 5. So now this one becomes 4, the whole number, plus the remainder 2 over 5. So that's how they have the 4 and 2/5. Okay, so same thing in here. So you have improper fraction and you have mixed number right here if you want to convert them. So you do 32 divided by 7. You ask yourself how many 7s are there in 32? Well, there are only 4. So now 4 times 7, you have 28. So now we will subtract, you have 4. So that means you don't have enough to make a 7. You only have 4. So now this one becomes 4. For that 4 right there, this 4. And then this 4, okay, 4 over 7. So these are the equivalent fractions of your improper. And so that your actual task here is you want to compare which one is larger, right? So you want to compare. Well, this is that problem right here. So if you have 4 and 2/5, and you want to compare which one is larger between that and 4 and 4/7, well, you can say right away that the whole number does not really affect the comparison because they're both 4, right? So meaning the only thing that you need to worry about is this one right here, the extra fraction. So those are really the one that you're comparing. Unlike if you have something like this, 5 and 2/5, and then you want to you want to compare with it 3 and 1/6. Well, obviously 5 is larger than 3, so you would say right away that it's greater. Okay, but in this problem you have both 4, so therefore you don't have to really worry about them right now because they're the same. If they're not the same, they're different, then you compare them by the whole number. So now we will need to compare this and that one. Okay, so this is what we need. This is where we need what we call an equivalent fraction. Okay, so that means we will convert these two fractions into their equivalent fractions that has the same denominators, because right now this is 5, this one is 7, they're both different. It's kind of hard to estimate. So now I'm going to write that here, 2/5, and then the other one is 4/7. So how do we get the equivalent fraction? Well, that's pretty easy actually. There are so many ways, but the idea is you can just multiply the two denominators, this denominator and this denominator, and you multiply that as 35. And so you also have 35 here. So now what you're going to do is you just do 35, okay, divided by 7, and then times 4. Okay, so 35 divided by 7 is 5 times 4, you have 20. Oops. Uh-oh. You have, it's not writing now. Okay, stop writing. Okay, so that is 20. 35, you divide by the denominator times the numerator, you have 20. Same manner here, you do 35 divided by 5, which is 7. Okay, and then times 4, I mean times 2, you have 14. So now you can easily compare, well, which one is larger, 14 or 20? So obviously 14 is less than, so that's why this one here is less than. Okay, so you probably want to take notes on this. I'm going to give you a different example just to make sure we clarify the steps. Okay, so let's say you have this uh, 16 over 3, and you want to compare it with, I don't know, maybe 25 over 4. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we will convert this one right here into, oh, let me change my example. That's probably, yeah, we can do that. Okay, so we will convert this into improper just like this. So what we're going to do is divide. So we will do 16 divided by 3. So you have 5, and then 5 times 3, you have 15, extra 1. So that means this is 5 and 1/3. Okay. On the other hand, this one right here, you have 25 divided by 4. 25 divided by 4, that's 6. 6 times 4, that's 24. And remainder 1. So therefore, this one right here is just equal to, let me just put that here. It's going to be equal to this whole number, 6, and the remainder 1, 1 and 1/4. Well, in this case, you are comparing this and that, right? In this case, your whole number are different. They're not the same 5, they're not the same 4. So therefore, you know that 5 is less than 6. So right away, you can say that they are 5/3 or 16 over 3 is less than. Okay, let's try another one. I mean, if you get it, then you don't have to listen to the next one, but let's try a different one wherein they would have the same value. So let's say 21 over 4, and we want to compare this with, let's say 36 over 7. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so now we will convert this. So in here, we will do a little bit of scratch paper. 21 divided by 4. 21 divided by 4, you have 5. 5 times 4, you have 20. Remainder 1. So therefore, this one right here is going to be equal to 5 and 1/4. 5 and 1/4. On the other hand, this one right here, we'll do a little bit of scratch work. 36 divided by 7. 36 divided by 7, you have 5. 5 times 7, you have 35. And then 36 minus 1 is 1. 36 minus 35 is 1. So now in here, you have 7, and your remainder is, oops, not 7. You have 5 and 1/7. 5 for the whole number, remainder is 1/7. So right now what we're doing is we're trying to compare this and that. But then they have the same 5, so we can't really outrightly say that the one is greater than the other, right? So now we will just compare their fractions. So now I'm going to do 1/4 and then 1/7 here. This is for the equivalent fraction. We need to convert them into equivalent fractions so that it's easy for you to compare. Okay, so for us, so you'll prepare this, the division sign. You will multiply 4 and 7, so you have 28. Okay, so now for the steps of converting, so you will divide first the denominator 28 divided by the old denominator, which is 7, and then times 1. So now you have 7. Same thing here. 28 divided by 7. times 1, you have 4. So now you can say that 7 is definitely greater than 4. So now that's why your sign goes this way, or in your original question goes this way. All right, so I hope that helps. All right, let me know if you have any other question.